Welcome to Recently Logged, where today we're talking about the best Resident Evil movie that doesn't exist.
Yeah. Welcome
Welcome
to Recently
Logged. We've been up for like 5 hours.
5 hours? That's not very long.
Yeah, but given the time, it's a long time.
People don't know when we recorded this.
People don't know. We've been up for a while.
Yes, we have been up. We've been up. We got up early.
Usually we're like dead tired, and now we're like in a weird state of fully awake, but also tired.
We got up early so we could rewatch the movie we're talking about today before we recorded.
What are we talking about today, Robbie?
Today we're talking about the latest film from director, writer, producer, filmmaker James Wan.
I feel like most of those could be encompassed in just filmmaker.
Well, that's probably true, but still. Malignant. Yes.
Streaming on HBO, and I think it's in theaters.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not keeping up with the theaters at the moment.
Yeah, it's in theaters
because I don't have money, which is why this podcast has to be a success.
Hey, we make mountains of money. That's the only reason we do this.
I mean, we make what, like 17 cents an episode?
Oh yeah, I mean,
if even.
I mean,
that's split 2 ways.
That's quite a bit, you know what I'm saying? It pays more than my job.
We can't even afford a movie. The entire profits of this entire... And it's not even...
renting one movie.
I was about to say, the entire profits of this show are not even enough to buy one movie ticket.
No, we used the profits to buy... a movie ticket. We rented a movie one time.
We rented a movie. No, I never got reimbursed for that.
But anyway,
I would have just rented the movie anyway.
Anyway. Today we're talking about Malignant. We're Recently Logged. I'm Micah. That's Robbie.
I'm Robbie.
Yeah, I just said that.
Yeah, but they got to hear it through my voice, Micah. That's the only defining trait you have in a podcast is your voice. They have to hear your voice.
Next thing you know, we're going to set up a little camera here. And it's gonna be one of those podcasts where we're also on camera.
Why not just make like a video?
Because it's a podcast.
No, it's not. Then it's just a video. You guys talking.
YouTube's algorithm supports longer videos. Let's make an 11-hour podcast episode.
Let's do it.
Anyway, do we want to hop right into Malignant?
Let's go over what the people need to know before we just start talking about it. Though
the people's.
The many people, our many listeners, estimated audience of like 4 or something.
We, the people who listen to Recently.
Shout out to you, I guess.
Yeah, shout out to all of you.
Here's everything you need to know about Malignant.
Everything. Brought to you by we're not actually sponsored by IMDb, but technically these facts are brought to you by IMDb.
Wow.
All right, so this week we are talking about Malignant. It is a 2021 film.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a 2021 film. It's rated R. It's an hour and 51 minutes.
Yes, it is.
Its little IMDb description is: Madison is paralyzed by shocking visions of grisly murders, and her torment worsens as she discovers that these waking dreams are in fact terrifying realities, which is not the plot of the movie.
No, not really. It's kind of a poor description, but whatever.
The cast features Annabelle, Wallis,
nice.
Maddie, Hasson, maybe
Hasson,
George Young, Michole, Briana White.
Cool name.
What else do we have? We got Jean Louisa Kelly.
Yes.
And yeah, that's the main cast.
Wow.
Directed by James Wan.
Also, the Lightning Thief guy's in here.
Oh yeah, the Lightning Thief guy. Not Percy Jackson. Granted, and spoilers for Percy Jackson, I guess. But I don't remember his name. But the guy who played in the movie who actually stole the lightning.
Got him.
It was written by James Wan, Ingrid, Bisu, maybe.
I'm guessing.
And man, give it a go, Robbie.
Akela Cooper.
Yeah, I was gonna go with something like Akela, maybe.
Why not just go with that then?
Because I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the movie though.
That's the movie. That's the whole movie.
It hasn't had a chance to win any awards. It came out like a week ago.
It's a horror movie.
It is a horror movie.
Because we're approaching spooky season.
If you think about it, spooky season's already begun.
Oh my God.
It depends where you qualify spooky season as.
I usually just like narrow it down to just October.
Yeah, because our mom was like, no, it's just October. And I'm like, you know what? I think spooky season can start the moment you can feel the fall air, which we can feel the fall air already.
That is true.
It's not fall yet, but we can feel it.
Mike, you've revealed our global location now.
Luke's out here waiting. There's season.
Nice.
But yeah, those are the basic facts of the movie. Do we want to get into our opening thoughts?
Let's do it, Micah. No. So, Micah.
Yes.
What did you think of Malignant?
What did I think of Malignant?
Yeah.
Robbie,
what did you think?
I'll have you know that I have not been a big fan of any other James Wan film I've seen so far.
Not even Aquaman.
Granted, I have only seen Aquaman and Insidious of his work. I have not seen Saw, The Conjuring.
I mean, I don't feel like you have to list all the other movies.
Well, no, but that's what he's well known for. Is like this, like Saw and The Conjuring. So I didn't know how I'd feel. I didn't think I would like it, but I had heard a lot of good things about it. I'd heard it was kind of crazy in the third act, and
just kind of crazy.
And it ended up being really fun. It wasn't quite what I expected, and it didn't blow my mind like it was. I bumped the microphone.
Oh my gosh!
Like I was hoping it would. But it really was like the filmmaking is really fun. It's actually using James Wan's very clear style in a really good way, and the plot is goofy and unique, and they commit to it. And I don't know, like I have no major complaints about it. It was a lot of fun, even on a rewatch, which I was a little worried about given its very twist-esque nature. And yeah, I gave it 4 stars.
Wow, there you go. Micah likes James Wan now.
Not inherently.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, we did do an episode on Insidious already, in season 1, actually. If you want to go check that out, you can.
And by the way, I just want to say this. After our little opening thoughts, actually, you just go. Yeah, just do yours. What did you think of the movie?
Okay, I really enjoyed it. I didn't really know what to expect when I went into it. I was a bit more of a fan of Insidious than Micah was, which if you've listened to the episode, you know that already. But like, I don't know, this was a solid horror film in my opinion. I really liked like the main antagonizing force of the movie. I think it's got a really interesting reveal. Some fun action. I like the way they play up the kind of like procedural side of it. Yeah. It's kind of fun. I don't know. Fun movie. Yeah. I enjoyed it. It's probably my favorite of the year. It's kind of a toss up between old and this.
So I will say that I think this movie is just like defined by the fact that it's just fun to watch through and through.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It does a lot, and it does it in very weird ways, but like it never once is just like boring or uninteresting or very melodramatic, which you get from a lot of like Insidious. Yeah, definitely. So what were you going to say, Micah? Oh, what I was going to say, if we're done with the segment, was like just from here on out, like stop the podcast here if you haven't watched the movie and you want to, because we're probably going to end up spoiling it. And with something this new, I just thought I would say that, like, get our opening thoughts out of the way and get our opening opinions so people could hear the description, hear what we thought of the movie in a brief form, and then go watch it for themselves, and then come back and listen to the rest.
Well, there you go.
So yeah, from here on out, we will probably be spoiling a lot.
Yes. But let's get into it. Here we go. Alrighty, so I guess we're actually going to talk about the movie now, Micah.
Whoa.
If you can even believe it.
I can't believe it.
I realized in the last segment I didn't say my rating. I gave this a 8 out of 10. So, just a fun nugget.
That's a 4 for people who can't do math.
Wow. They failed fractions. They weren't paying attention when they covered fractions in school. But yeah, so Micah.
Yes.
Just to kick us off,
get us rolling.
What did you think of the actual monster, quote unquote, of the movie?
What did I think?
Because this is technically kind of a monster movie
of good old G-Man.
The G-Man.
The G-Man. Gabe. My boy Gabe.
Wow.
I actually will say that it's kind of the feel I have towards this movie, where certain elements are just kind of not fully what I would want them to be. It's not bad, but it is a little underwhelming, and I will say that I think Gabe is kind of part of that for me, because while he is a frightening, cool reveal, kind of spooky antagonist, there's a lot about his characterization and just the way he works that I think not even is just not explained, but is from a base level kind of bothersome to me, especially the super strength and the cracking her bones backwards to be able to work backwards and just various things that I'm how would this work? And it also really kind of bothers me that Gabe is just exclusively evil. They even call him the devil multiple times when he's just a poor child who was given up and put through terrible things and now wants to kill everyone.
Yes. I mean, I don't know. It wasn't see all of the problems you just brought up with him. They don't bother me very much.
Yeah, no, like I said, these aren't big things. Yeah. But there is actually it's just not fully. I feel like Gabriel isn't a fully.
Keep calling him Gabe
because I just want to call him Gabe. I feel like he's not a fully fleshed out character like I want him to be.
Okay.
A fleshed out antagonist. Obviously, they don't have time to make him this complex character, being that he's a big reveal thing.
Yeah.
But he feels like he's played too much just a supernatural creature, which is for the nature
Very
of the twist.
So, yeah.
And that just kind of pulls me out of getting invested in what he's actually doing.
Yeah, that's fair. But I really like the kind of supernatural tone it takes, because it makes it feel he is kind of a supernatural force, but then the reveal at the end, you're oh my gosh, he's right there.
No, like I said, I think it works well.
Yeah.
The supernatural kind of feel works well, especially for getting you into the quote unquote twist of the movie.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I don't really consider it to be a twist, really. I guess
I said quote unquote.
Yeah.
It's the reveal. It's not especially a twist.
Yeah,
I kind of pieced it together. I mean, me and Mom both pieced it together before it got to it.
Yeah.
And then I said it because I wanted to prove that I knew what they were going to do. And Robbie was like, what?
Mikey, you should have just sent a text or something.
What?
So we had the time code. You shouldn't have spoiled it for me.
I didn't spoil it. I can't spoil it if I didn't know. I just guessed.
But you did spoil it, Micah. You revealed a plot point from later in the movie, and therefore that is a spoiler.
But I didn't know that it would be a plot point. But yeah, no. What about you? What do you think of my boy Gabe?
I don't know. I really like it. As a antagonist for the story, he's just really fun to watch throughout the movie.
Yeah.
And that's really what I enjoy most about just this movie in general, is it's just really it's just a really fun horror movie to watch.
Yeah, I think just to a certain element, him being quote unquote fun to watch, it kind of gets into the filmmaking again that I kind of have a little bit of a problem with, where it just feels kind of incomplete almost, not fully what it could be, because take the scene that everybody is always in the third act, everybody is always freaking out about the third act online anyway, and when Gabe is dicing, smushing, smashing, punching, throwing, and murdering everybody, which, is pretty cool. He comes off as very overpowered to me. He's dodging like 45 bullets and shotgun shots, and like then when he gets to the actual protagonists of the story, he just doesn't kill them. He's like ripped apart like a million people, and then he gets to them and he's like, nah, I'm gonna take it a little easy.
Yeah, it's weird that, I mean, like, maybe he wanted them to be, like, to suffer a little before that he just, like, destroys them.
I don't know.
That would be my reading of that, but I don't know.
But why would he care? I don't think he has any personal investment in the police people. Like, he would care about...
Well, not the police people. I'm saying, like, the very
He would care
end.
about, like, Sydney.
Yeah, exactly.
And the mom.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about, not the police. I don't know why. I don't know why I didn't just rip apart the two main police officers.
Like, I don't know. It kind of like all of Gabriel's stuff, even from the beginning opening scenes, all kind of give off this vibe to me personally of a very like unfinished, unpolished story.
Yeah,
really.
Which, I mean, that kind of what am I saying? It kind of wraps around to my main, like, problem I have with the movie is the emotional stakes and core of the film just aren't set up well enough for everything to have the emotional weight that it should. Like, if this was, like, gonna be, like, 10 of 10 masterpiece, like, it would need to establish its emotional core, and then you could work everything off of that, which is what the whole movie is based off of, like, the like main characters, obviously, but like the idea of like family and stuff like that.
But it hardly does anything to really get you to care about
exactly.
family.
It doesn't really get you to care about that. It's more interested in being like a procedural, like I mentioned earlier.
Yeah, and I think it does sacrifice some of that for kind of what James Wan wanted to do. Gore-wise and like just horror-wise. I honestly feel like he was just itching to make another rated R movie since it had been a while.
I mean, who can blame him? This thing does look pretty great.
But like take like the opening, not the opening, the like the introduction of our main character.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I should care about the baby. I feel like I should care about their relationship, and like I want to care about, like, I was actually genuinely interested and surprised and wanting to see more of the relationship. Not even, I'm fine that he died, her abusive husband, but like because they did it in a way that actually makes him like you actually get invested in him as a character, whereas most movies would have like some just abusive crappy relationship. Like I just watched The Boy and they would just be the worst of the worst and that's it. But like I actually really like the fact that like he's trying to get over it. He feels genuinely really terrible about it. He's trying to give up alcohol. He's doing all these things and I'm like, yeah, I want to see their relationship grow. I want to see this happen.
One scene later.
Literally, he's in one scene. He dies.
Yeah.
And I feel like just that initial moment of getting horror instead of really giving time for the characters to sit at all kind of gives the tone for the movie of how it actually cares about its family themes.
Yeah, I was about to say, take something like Insidious, where a lot of the time we actually do get to know our main character, but it's just not a very interesting main character, so it's very boring.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like, Insidious actually takes its time with its family, but its family is just the most boring thing.
Exactly, yeah. I wish we had something like that for this, because, like, yeah, the horror is a lot of fun in this, the action's a lot of fun in this, but, like, I do wish that's really, honestly, the only thing holding this back from being, like, fantastic.
Yeah, so like take the end of this movie. Like I like to think that the main thing that snaps Madison out of like Gabe's control, I'm just gonna call him Gabe, he's canon Gabe now, is Sydney saying that he was leeching off of her babies and that's what's caused her to have 3 miscarriages.
Yeah,
but like I barely remembered that, because although it feels like it should be such a big driving motivation for Madison, like that's the whole reason she stayed in the relationship with the one guy, and almost like that's her driving force as a person.
Yeah.
I don't like, it just doesn't give you any time to care. She loses the baby instantly in the beginning. and you don't see anything from before. She gets over it pretty fast because she has other things to worry about with murder.
Yeah. No, I do wish that's honestly a good, like, point to make about this movie. I just wish it would slow down and let us get to know the actual thing we're supposed to care about for the movie before it just, like, gets right into it, which usually I'm like, if a movie's too slow in its first act, if it's like not actively setting stuff up, then obviously it needs to move on.
I'll commend this movie because it still is really fun, and its pacing is like, it goes.
Yeah.
It's 2 hours long and you're never bored. Even on a rewatch, I wasn't bored. But at the same time, it really does feel like it could have maybe cut back on some things.
Yeah, it feels more hollow than it should.
Yeah,
especially at the end.
But anyway, I've got another question.
Go for it.
What is your favorite scene or sequence? Because I was thinking about this one this morning.
I really like which one am I thinking of? One of the Gabe scenes. I don't remember which one.
One of the Gabe scenes.
I actually really like the third kill a lot for some reason. I don't know why.
Silence your phone.
That's the computer. That was the computer. We're recording on the computer.
But
yes, the third
the bathtub man.
Yes. I don't know why the filmmaking in that scene is a lot of fun. That's some of my favorite Gabe action is in that scene.
Yeah, I think that's like when the filmmaking peaks for slow kill Gabe.
Yeah.
Like for him actually being creepy.
Yeah.
Like that anyway.
That if I were to like save one scene from this movie, it'd probably be that. Because you get like the fun horror action, but you also get a lot of the more slow stuff. Like I was originally gonna say like breaking out of jail or whatever, but like
that is a fun sequence.
Yeah, it is a fun sequence, but like it doesn't hold the same. It doesn't hold me the same way that like all of the previous kills do.
Yeah. Honestly, for me, and this is going to be a really weird part of the movie. I don't know why, because I was thinking about this like this morning while we were watching it. I was like, what is a standout scene or sequence to me? What is a scene or sequence I'm like, yes, I really like this. And for some reason, it's a lot of that right before the third act, like Gabe investigation reveal footage. The Gabe investigation, but like all the footage stuff and like everything that's going on, like just the blend of tensions rising and the footage use.
Oh, that actually.
And then
man. Why didn't I think of that?
Right up until like the prison scene. I really love that stretch of filmmaking.
No, that you're probably right. Actually, I might change my answer to that. That is a really good sequence.
Like I was just like, yeah.
See, I was about to say if it didn't elaborate more on the characters, I wish it leaned more into like that stuff.
Yeah, right. Like because at the end of the day, this movie is very choppy feeling, and not in some way that stands out too much unless you're looking for it specifically, but like it's doing like 3 different things. And I know that's kind of what James Wan was going for. If you hear him talk about the movie and like some of the little interview stuff, he's like, this movie is on a very like big scale. He's like, it's my most ambitious movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's fine. But it is very weirdly balanced between like weird like medical recordings and hospital stuff to like Madison and Baby and like Gabe murdering people.
Wouldn't it be so cool if it like, okay, imagine like it takes place all from the sister's perspective, but she has to like investigate for the entire time. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah,
that would be kind of cool. Like, actually, it would be cooler as a video game, like a Resident Evil game.
Oh yeah, we should like. So we made that joke at the beginning, but we made that joke while we were watching the movie because this game, in literally every way except for Umbrella Corps, needs to have caused Gabe somehow. It would literally just be Resident Evil. It could just be a Resident Evil movie.
Yeah.
like literally slap the Umbrella Corps logo on one thing and it becomes a Resident Evil movie.
Man, I love the design for Gabe.
It really is.
It's such a cool design.
A really cool, kind of creepy design. I really am a big fan. And and that's what I actually like about this movie, allowing itself to be kind of like medical-y. Like, I honestly really love that stuff. Like I said, I love the opening credits. But like, in that whole sequence I just was saying with the thing when they show all of like the procedural stuff of like the removing and pushback of Gabe and everything, and I'm like, yeah, this is really creepy.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, that's the movie at its most unnerving is during all of the investigation stuff. Yeah, which I wish we got to see more of. Like,
yeah, so with cool. your point of like the sister investigating, you could get like, I would love this if it was like a Fincher kind of vibe movie.
Fincher.
Bear with me.
Fincher Malignant.
A Fincher kind of vibe movie where it's much more focused on being creepy through an investigation of this stuff. It doesn't really work from presenting Madison as a main character. And even then, if you did as Sydney, you'd have to rework a lot of stuff about the story.
I was about to say.
It just wouldn't work. But at the same time, where this movie shines is a lot of the investigation stuff. Like the moment, like, and it seems to know this because one of the first things it introduces, like scene 3, is the police and the duo of them and like their investigation. Yeah. And like,
it's because that's a major part of what keeps the plot moving.
And like, it would be really cool, in my opinion, if they had something like the synopsis, or not the synopsis, the summary or description or whatever actually kind of hints to, where I kind of wish it was more like slow burny, and the fact that she's having these visions and then slowly she uses her connection with the police through the opening to like figure out that they are actually happening, not immediately be like, yo, this is what's happening.
This is happening.
And then they're like, oh, okay.
Okay.
Let's go check it out. Like, it could be like something very mysterious, whereas I feel like this movie, as much as it wants to be, does not stay mysterious to me at all.
Not really.
And especially on a rewatch, you lose any air of mystery that you had, because the only real mystery was like, what is Gabe actually?
Yeah. No, it's interesting to note. Definitely. Yeah, it's kind of an odd movie in a lot of ways.
No, it really is. And
especially as a horror movie.
And like, when you watch it, it's just fun. Like, I don't know.
It's a fun movie.
There's nothing, again, like I said in the beginning, there's nothing inherently wrong, like, majorly with the movie. There are a lot of problems, small here and there, that kind of build up and make it something that on a rewatch I was honestly considering lowering it to 3.5, but it's still just a really fun movie.
The score is really bad, though.
The score is really bad.
The score is, like, actively bad.
Let's talk about that. Right we go.
Basically, whenever I mentioned this while we were watching it, basically whenever the score kicks in the movie, it's usually at like an intense or emotional moment, you know, and it's like a score usually is. Like, that's pretty par for the course. Yeah. But the score is just they do kind of grandiose, but it does not fit the vibe.
Yeah, I was about to say, they do like a really weird bubbly score. Like, in a sense that it's very almost 80s in vibe, but yet nothing in this movie relates to that at all.
I was about to say, it's another synth, like, horror score, but it sounds way too, like, rock and roll to be a horror movie. It's weird. I don't like it.
So, like, a couple instances of, like, synth horror scores working really well, or, like, take, like, The Thing. Most of that is synth and strings, and it is honestly one of the best horror scores I can think of. Yeah. Even just listening to the songs, they're super, like, whoa.
I mean, heck, even Gretel and Hansel. One of my favorite horror movies is worse than this. I consider it to be worse, but part of what makes it so much fun to watch is just the way its score builds its atmosphere into something like tangible.
And I was going to use that as an example of another movie that doesn't especially feel like a synthy score is warranted, but yet it uses it really well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like Hansel and Gretel is like a weird, like, retelling of a fairy tale.
Goofy.
It's goofy, it's creepy, it takes place in the woods, like, and yet we have like this synthy score and it works.
Yeah.
but not here.
I was about to say, like I said, it's a little too rock and roll, which if you've heard the score, I think you'll know what I mean. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's an odd, like that's honestly, which is weird. It's weird me saying this. That's honestly one of my least favorite parts of this movie. It's one of the biggest problems I have with it is that its score just rips you out of the movie whenever it comes to it.
And I don't want to pin it all on James Wan, because I've been saying James Wan, but like I feel like a lot of this is just very stylistic for James Wan. Like I feel like this isn't unusual for him to do. He really, from what I've seen of his movies,
it's very similar to Insidious in a lot of ways.
Like from what I've seen, he really likes going big. He wants it to be like a spectacle. He wants like loud music. He wants lots of gore. He wants cool filmmaking tricks. He wants it to be as fun as he can make it.
Yeah.
And
which he succeeds a lot more in this than he does in Insidious.
Yeah, I think it's Insidious' screenplay is holding it back. I don't even think the direction
definitely.
Or anything.
I was about to say I absolutely love the direction and like all of the horror elements in Insidious. I think it's really fun, but like
tiptoe.
Yeah, exactly. I love the tiptoe through the tulips scenes, both of them. But like its screenplay, its characters are just so paper thin. It's so hard to watch.
You don't really care about any of the characters, and then that stupid ending of the movie.
I like the ending. It's kind of dumb. It's kind of dumb.
The ending
I like the ending. Okay, we're talking about Insidious again.
But no, I really do think it's a very stylistic choice, and I don't think it inherently has to like sacrifice quality for that stylistic choice, but I just think in the specific story he was going for here, he did a lot of things that make it more poppy than inherently good.
I was about to say we talked over the movie for a good portion of our second viewing, just because it's you get just as much out of it like talking over it, which really shouldn't be given how emotional a lot of the story is for the main character.
Yeah, and I mean we talk over horror a lot because that's a very, I don't know, there's something about horror movies that is a very like get together with your friends, talk over and joke while you watch people die kind of movies.
Yeah, I was about to say there's something fun about that. Yeah,
and I think Malignant,
yes,
Malignant definitely falls into that category. I'd get together and watch this with a bunch of friends. It would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Because again, this movie is just good enough that it's really enjoyable, and that there's a lot of good elements and a lot of good ideas. Gabriel's creepy. The reveal is cool.
It just needs a solid foundation is really what it needs to elevate it a little bit.
Yeah, there's just nothing at its base to really get you interested.
I was about to say, you don't get personally invested. I didn't get personally invested anyway. It needs something more concrete than what it has to build off of.
My best non-horror example, well, I guess you could consider it horror, but still, it's my best non-horror example that I use when talking about movies like this, and even we just watched Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, and I use that as a comparison with it too. But that kind of Cloverfield paradox kind of feeling, where it's much more interested in being goofy and kind of creepy and more horror-y and just being a spectacle of a film, because if you've seen the Cloverfield paradox, it's trying its darndest to be a fun film to watch.
It's trying so hard and it fails so hard.
And Cloverfield Paradox works as one of those movies. I've done it. Watch it with some friends and just joke whenever somebody dies.
It's so boring, man. If you try and sit down and watch Cloverfield Paradox alone, you're gonna fall asleep.
And I think this is a step up from Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, from Hansel and Gretel, from Cloverfield Paradox. This is a step up from all of those. It has more elements that actually work. It's got a good story structure. It's got pretty decent pacing. Yeah. It's got interesting character ideas.
It sucks that I get more invested in the backstory than I do in what's actually happening.
Right? No, like I said, the most interesting parts a lot of times are all of those videos and all of the stuff. And I think that's mainly because it's the only thing that can connect to you emotionally while you're watching. You don't really have any investment into Madison as a person, or at least I don't.
I was about to say, I never really got that connected to her.
I really wouldn't have cared if when policeman comes in at the end,
they shot her.
They just shot her a bunch of times, because she gets shot like once, and Sydney's like, no, it's hurting her. And then he gets like stabbed.
Yeah.
Like, that's how little, like, I liked Sydney. I liked the police, those were the three characters I liked the most.
Exactly.
The police duo and Sydney. Whereas Madison, there's not much that's likable about her character because they don't give time. She's just always in fear, like, watching these things, trying to be convinced that she's not crazy.
Yeah, I mean, she's supposed to be, like, kind of what we view the movie through, which should be, like, in my opinion, the main character should have some sort of emotional anchor to help draw you in more. But, like, she's really just serving the function of us watching the narrative and being a plot device for the villain of the movie, quote unquote.
And at the end of the day, almost all the characters just kind of feel like they're there just for plot.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think any of the characters, in a lot of movies I watch, and a lot of my favorite movies, and I think it's one of the elements that makes them some of my favorite movies, when I watch a character, I'm like, yes, this is, like, the world and the characters work so well. Like Miyazaki said that one time.
As Miyazaki once.
Like, it should feel like your characters and your world have been there before and will continue to be there after.
Yeah, I was about to say, I have absolutely no clue what Madison was going to do with her life after this movie's over.
And in a lot of movies, even take another horror example, take the Invisible Man, the newer one.
Yeah, Lee Winnell, baby.
They do a really good job with the characters. I hate the plot of the movie, but they do a really good job.
You just don't like gaslight plots?
I hate gaslight plots, which I do commend this movie for not doing anything gaslighty, which it had numerous opportunities to do. But, like, I care about the characters in Invisible Man.
Yeah.
I care about where these characters were before. I see the end of the movie and I can imagine where the characters are going to be after. It works as a movie, even though I would say they're on pretty close, like, quality-wise. I rated them the same.
I like both of them for very different reasons. Yeah. Man, The Invisible Man, good movie. Some might even say a great movie.
I just kind of hate the story.
I know.
I can't stand gaslight plots.
Micah's like, I love this family. Why must they alienate the main character now? Stop it. Just be happy together.
Just be happy. Just go watch Patterson. Just be happy.
Please become happy.
I need more movies with less conflict.
Micah just wants meditative movies with no conflict and happy characters.
That is accurate, yes.
Go for it. That's why I'm watching Terrence Malick.
But yeah, do you have any other questions? Anything to add?
I mean, I've already covered the two main problems I really have with it. Like I said, but like I don't know.
But do you have any?
I don't know that I have another question about it. Is what I was gonna say.
I was trying to think of something because I feel like there is something else that we haven't talked about that I wanted to.
Well, what is it, Micah?
Well, if I knew, I would say.
Well, here, what did you think about the actual, like, brass tacks filmmaking of it? Like,
the filmmaking I thought was actually pretty fun. Like, I thought it was really, they went through a lot to get the production to look good. I loved, and I didn't know if they actually were open ceiling, but again, we watched a little, like, short thing with James Wan, and like they actually have these sets. They have a bunch of open roof sets, and I love what these open roof sets allow them to do practically, because it just looks it looks really good when they're doing filmmaking, like when they're doing camera movements. And all in all, comparatively to like Aquaman and Insidious, I think the filmmaking alone, even though it's similar to Insidious, is stepped up quite a bit, both in like lighting, direction, like just the energy of the movie is there in its filmmaking.
I love just how similar it feels to Insidious, though.
Though I will say, I did actually want to comment this, like I wanted to talk about this even though I didn't. So this is a very gory movie. It's very bloody, very gory. one of the most gory movies I've seen. Then again, I haven't seen too many horror movies.
Yeah, I was about to say.
But, like, there's something about the gore in this movie. The CGI is shaky sometimes, but there's something about the gore in this movie. We just watched Battle Royale for the first time.
Great movie,
and
by the way.
All of the gore in that movie, again, another extremely gory movie.
Very gory movie, yes.
All of the gore in that movie is done practically. And even though it doesn't always look the most real,
no.
I think it honestly does a really good job of getting you to feel like it's an actual threat.
Mm-hmm.
You feel very personal every time somebody gets killed, and there's a lot of...
I was about to say, Battle Royale does a great job at mass, like, a character work on a, like, grand scale.
Yeah.
And actually making, the actual filmmaking of it does a really good job of actually bringing you closer to the characters, or even if you've only known them for like 2 scenes.
Whereas gore in this movie and the way the characters are done, I feel like it's all very spectacle-y feeling. Like it's an excess of weird kind of gore that doesn't make me feel scared. It just makes me kind of like
made me a little queasy.
Chuckle.
Made me a little queasy there on the first viewing. I was like, ooh.
No, I didn't get any queasy feelings from it at all. I kind of made me laugh. It reminded me, no joke, I thought of this on the second watch. Back in the day, me and Robbie used to watch a lot of Rhett and Link.
Hey, that was back when they were good.
And they had this sketch where they were like surviving in the wild or something. I don't remember specifically what happens, but this snake attacks and he takes a knife and he just starts stabbing it off screen. And there's just like so much blood, like just an excess of blood.
Such a funny joke.
And it looked exactly like that.
Yeah. I mean, I made a comparison to The Boys and it really does look a lot like it.
Yeah, very TV show-esque gore, which Robbie, he made that comment.
This whole movie looks like a TV show in a lot of ways.
It looks like a good-looking TV show, but it does always have that kind of filmmaking feel of a TV show.
No, I was going to mention a lot of people's, they mention in their negative reviews of the negative reviews I've read for this, they mention that it just feels kind of like a high-budget TV special, not a actual movie.
Yeah, I could see that. It does give a lot of, especially on a filmmaking level, almost TV show vibes with it, which is very weird.
Yeah, it's very odd.
Like, because it's a movie definitely dedicated to spectacle and having fun, but the fact that comes off as almost TV show-esque in its execution is interesting.
Yeah, no, it's just something to note. I don't think it's really at fault for that.
No,
like,
I don't think it's a problem.
James Wan's direction is very reminiscent of modern TV in a lot of ways, like horror TV anyway.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure why that is. His sensibilities just seem to lean more towards like this kind of spacey feel almost where you just don't feel as close to the action.
I think I'd describe it as like popcorn horror.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because in TV, the way they shoot things is usually in a bunch of like medium shots and stuff, just because they can get a lot of coverage very easily. And the way that James Wan shoots this movie is in a lot of medium shots. So it all feels like, until it breaks out into like wider stuff or any of its action sequences, it all feels very kind of locked down like a TV show would. And
even on a lighting and production like side of things, on the actual stuff there itself, it feels very high budget, like HBO original series.
I was about to say, it just feels like prestige television
TV.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting, and I don't think it's inherently a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing.
But yeah, I think the
lot.
best way I would personally describe that is like popcorn horror. It's not horror that actually makes me personally feel anything. It doesn't get me, and it didn't. It didn't get me thrilled at all. I was about to say the scariest or most invested I am throughout this entire movie is during the research stuff. Yeah, I was hardly grossed out even. Like, there's just very little that actually is what I want in a quote-unquote horror movie, but I feel like that's very modern horror. That is the popcorn horror experience.
Yeah.
Gore, some jump scares, a premise, and it's all a good spectacle. but it doesn't actually affect me in any way. And
I
I
was
think
about to
that's
say,
what I run into in most horror
this
movies.
movie works better as like a thriller or an action thriller kind of thing, because especially that third act, it's literally just an action scene. It's not. There's not much horrifying about it other than the fact that he's like dismembering a bunch of people.
Yeah, and where I hate to jump back to just these because they're as old as they are, but like really, from what I've seen, the best and most effective horror for me personally has been from like the 70s era, because it was when they were just breaking into actually being able to do like gore on
Gory
television
stuff, yeah.
So like movies like The Thing and Suspiria and even Jaws to a certain extent all
definitely.
use very, very effective things to get me to personally feel invested, on edge, and enthralled every time something happens.
Oh my gosh, Suspiria's climax is so good.
Whereas most modern horror, and I was talking with my girlfriend about this because like her favorite genre is horror movies,
Yeah.
and most of what she watches is modern horror movies, and I'm really not, and she hasn't seen hardly any like 70s horror, and I'm just not there for like modern horror as much as I would like to be. 90s, 80s, and 70s is really what I've found to be the best stretch of horror.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There's just not a single element. Like, for Suspiria, a lot of the draw of it is kind of its atmosphere, not even so much its characters necessarily. And Jaws, you get some great character work, which gets you invested in what's happening. But for Malignant, there's just not much that's actually drawing you in to actually be, like, scared.
Yeah.
Most of it's just kind of like, oh yeah, this is a really fun like sequence.
Like,
Sure.
yeah, I jumped a couple times
Yeah.
because they're jump scares, and I saw a lot of gore because there's a lot of gore.
The hardest I jumped in this movie was when,
The window?
when she's in the window.
The window, yeah.
I was like, oh my god.
Why is that the best jump scare?
That's the best jump scare in the movie, and it's not even
But yeah, it feels. I think you described it pretty well, and I think that's the last thing I'll leave it with, like comment wise, is I feel like it does in fact come off more like an action thriller, despite everything about it being more quote unquote horror.
Yeah, it's very much. I think I would describe it as an action thriller that's inspired by a lot of like 80s and 90s like grindhouse horror movies, which is interesting.
Yeah. Overall, a very enjoyable experience.
Yeah,
still.
I was about to say, I feel like we've only talked about negative things about it. We both enjoy it, and we gave it pretty high ratings.
Yeah, the spectacle, which is what I was saying it mostly focuses on, is really good.
Yeah, I was about to say, we keep bringing up all the bad stuff because, like, the stuff that's actually good about it is really good. Like,
yeah, there's just not as much to talk about with it because, like, a lot of the elements that would make it great are not as good as they could be.
exactly, yeah.
So there are, like, it's really fun. It's got cool stuff. It's just like there's hardly, I don't know what to say when talking about good things about it because of how much they are like half good, but the half good piles up so much throughout every element that it turns into a pretty, in my opinion, pretty good, pretty fun movie.
Yeah. I genuinely don't know if I think it's my favorite for the year or not. I can't decide.
It made my top 5. I want to pull it up.
It's either old or this, but I'm not sure.
So at the moment, my top 5 is Luca, Old, Doug Days, if you consider it, Malignant, In the Heights, and if you don't consider Doug Days, then Mitchell's versus the Machines.
You know what? I'm gonna move Old back to the number 1 slot. So it'll be Old, Malignant, and then Luca, Mitchell's versus the Machines, and I don't remember what my 5
and
is.
maybe In the Heights.
No, it's not In the Heights.
Robbie hates In the Heights.
It's not that I hate In the. Oh, it's Barb and Star.
I was going to say it's probably Barb and Star.
I love
then.
Barb and Star. What a fun movie. But yeah. Good. Let's go into our closing thoughts real quick. Let's sum this all
I
up.
thought we were cutting out that segment.
What you said last week that we weren't cutting it out.
No, you're like,
I said the movie.
No, I said we shouldn't because we had already built to this point. If you wanted to make that executive decision, we could cut it out.
All right, we'll cut it out then.
Because we do build to a natural conclusion.
That's what I'm saying. Like the conversation usually builds to a natural conclusion. So there we go. There's no closing thoughts.
We're cutting it. It's gone.
Go away.
We would literally just say the exact same things we've been saying for the past 40 minutes, but
Yes.
summarized, and then we'd remind you of the rating, which mine was 4 stars.
Mine was also 4 stars out of 5.
Very, very close to hitting a 3.5 on a rewatch, though.
Yeah, I gave it 4.5. I was so conflicted on whether or not I wanted to give it a 4.5 or a 4, but on a second watch, I was like, a lot of the problems stuck out to me a bit more, especially the kind of not having much of an emotional stake in any of it.
That's why I wanted to rewatch it, was because I knew that would probably happen with the way the movie is written.
Yeah, I was about to say, I wasn't quite as captured as I was with it on a second watch, so I ended up lowering it to a 4. I did end up giving it a 4.5 on my first watch, but I lowered it to a 4 afterwards, so. But yeah, good movie. I guess now that we're done talking about Malignant, we can get into the other stuff we watched over the past week.
The What We Watched segment. The recently logged segment.
Stuff we've recently logged.
Whoa. So, for those of you who do not know how this segment works, we just briefly talk over everything we've recently logged on Letterboxd, which is a film logging. Well, yeah, but I was going to explain the actual science of it.
Wow.
Which is a social media thing where you can review and log movies.
Yes.
You can go follow us on that.
Yeah.
I'm Micah Games _things and
Robbie Grayway. Yeah.
But yeah, so we're going from the 6th, which was when our last episode came out, Nasuka of the Valley of the Wind. And we're just going to give a little brief something, and yeah.
Let's do it.
So on the 7th, I watched The Last Stand, which is a short film. I wouldn't normally mention it.
Wouldn't normally mention
But one of our Twitter friends made it.
Twitter.
He's actually been on my YouTube channel too.
Yeah.
But Yossi Sloan's The Last Stand.
Good film.
You can find it on YouTube.
I did some design work for it.
You can log it on Letterboxd.
We might have talked about it last week. I think we did.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
But Robbie did some graphic design work for it.
Yes, indeed, baby.
And I actually really, really liked it.
There you go.
I thought it was actually really good.
Mike is like, who'd have thought that one of my friends actually made a good film?
Pretty crazy. What about you, Ruby? What'd you watch next?
On the 8th, I watched Dick Johnson is Dead for the first time, which is a documentary about Dick Johnson, if you can even believe it. Really great. One of my favorite documentaries I've ever watched. It does a really good job weaving its narrative. I don't know. It's a good documentary. What do you want from me?
Would you rate it, Remy?
The actual filming stuff, like the stuff they actually produced for it, is also very interesting, and the way they incorporate it into the narrative of the actual footage is interesting as well. I gave it a 4 out of 5.
Nice.
Very nice.
Then on the 9th, which, technically it was just later that night,
yeah,
we watched Battle Royale for the first time. The
yes,
2000
indeed.
Battle Royale.
Battle Royale, baby.
The one that preceded... Yeah, it was really good. I didn't know fully what to expect.
Yeah, it was really good.
I knew there was going to be I knew it was going to be a gore fest. That's all I knew about it. And it was, but it was also pretty darn well made. Like,
Ooh.
The character stuff was really good. The plot was really good.
Kind of talked about it earlier.
We talked about it a little bit.
Mentioned it
during the meet.
Yes.
But no, I very much enjoyed it, and I gave it 4.5 stars.
I also gave it a 4.5 star rating because I thought it was really good.
Then the next day, we watched Mad Max Fury Road for the first time.
Yes, very first time. If you can even believe it.
It's been 6 years since it came out.
It's been 6 years.
And we just watched it. I can't believe it's been 6 years. I remember when this thing came out.
Yeah, I was about to say, I remember when this came out.
But, we had never seen a Mad Max movie. We have seen some George Miller movies like Happy Feet.
Happy Feet.
But yeah, no, I very much liked Mad Max.
Yeah, Fury Road. I said in my review, it's about time that Mission Impossible Fallout got some competition for the best action movie I've ever seen.
I did not give it 5 stars. I gave it 4.5. Not all of the elements worked for me, but I
5 stars.
I feel like they would on a rewatch. I just really want to rewatch it.
He wants to die historic on the Fury Road.
He wants to die historic on the Fury Road.
It's such a good screenplay.
I really just want to rewatch.
Such good action.
It is.
The filmmaking
The filmmaking is another one of those movies that I would call almost perfect in
I think it
filmmaking.
is almost. I think it's just about a perfect movie, honestly.
Then on the 10th,
Mad Max
though,
Fury Road, very good. On the 10th.
on the 10th, we watched our first Bong Joon-ho movie
Yes.
with The Host.
The Host.
Believe it or not, we have not yet seen Parasite.
More like Bong Joon Host, am I right? Am I right?
It was. I did not know what to expect. Again, I had never seen a Bong Joon-ho movie.
Yes.
I had heard that most of his stuff is pretty darn good, and I know some people who like this movie quite a bit.
This was pretty darn good, and I liked it quite a bit.
I really liked it. I thought it was really fun. One of the most interesting actual monster movies I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It did a really good job of balancing its comedy and its serious stuff. The cast is great. I don't know. No complaints about the host.
It's got a really fine-tuned screenplay, and the way they make the stakes very personal is a really nice thing in a monster movie.
I think the only thing that didn't work, and the only reason I didn't give it a 5, was that some of the pacing in the second act was not my favorite.
Yeah.
But I gave it 4.5 stars.
Yeah, I also gave it a 4.5. Very good film.
Then on the 10th, as well.
As well.
I guess that was the night though. We watched
No,
The
we watched
Host,
this.
and
We watched
so
The
late,
Host at night.
It was the 10th.
I was about to say, dude, we watched this next thing in the middle of the afternoon.
But then we watched John Mulaney's New in Town. It's a comedy special.
It's a stand-up special, Micah, if you can even believe it.
I'm a big John Mulaney fan.
Big John Mulaney.
He's probably my favorite comedian. Shocker.
There you go, Micah.
And I don't know. I really loved New in Town.
I mean, I also liked it. This is the first. This is the first thing from John Mulaney that I've watched outside of Sack Lunch Bunch. So yeah, no, I mean, I really enjoyed it.
I laughed through the whole thing.
It's a good stand-up set.
Yeah, no, it's a really good stand-up set. It's very quotable.
It is very quotable. I've referenced it many times.
It's just really good.
Yeah. I gave it a 4 out of 5.
I gave it a 5 out of 5.
Whoa.
Then on the 10th as well, I watched The Boy.
Brahms the Boy?
Not Brahms the Boy.
But his name is Brahms.
But his name is Brahms. And this was a rewatch of The Boy. I had watched it once. This was while I was over at my girlfriend's house, and she wanted to turn it on.
You always watch the craziest thing.
We do, don't we? This is kind of a trash movie.
I kind of like it. It's kind of fun.
There's some fun elements, but it's so goofy and so not scary. I kind of it's kind of. I have a certain love for movies like this. Not that I want to watch them again, but just that I love laughing at them. And Brahms the Boy.
I love Brahms, Mike.
It works for that. I gave it 2.5 stars.
I gave it a 3, but I didn't watch it this time. Then while he was watching that, I watched this lovely little film called A Pigeon Sat on a Branch Reflecting on Existence.
Cuckoo.
Which is a Swedish film, for those who couldn't get. I don't know how you would guess that it's Swedish. But yeah, it's a Swedish comedy, kind of surrealist. It's really good, like amazingly good. I definitely recommend it if you have access to it, which it's on like a bunch of free services right now. I watched it on Amazon Prime, so I didn't watch it with ads or anything, but definitely I'm gonna have to get Micah to watch this because it was amazing. Really good stuff.
Really good stuff.
Yeah, I don't know how to describe it. It's almost like a spiritual experience. I get the same feeling watching it. It's like as I get like watching a Terrence Malick movie or something.
Well, there you go.
It's good stuff, but it's in no way stylistically similar to Terrence Malick.
He's just saying all sorts of things here.
Wow.
Then on the 11th, we watched The Phantom of the Megaplex, a Disney Channel original,
I went from pigeons sitting on a branch reflecting on existence to Phantom of the Megaplex.
This movie came out the same year as Battle Royale.
Nice. You can tell.
It was actually pretty fun. It's still a Disney Channel movie, but like it was doing some decent things filmmaking wise.
Yeah.
It was just a goofy movie.
Micah, it's a movie about the movies.
It actually has decent pacing, which is all you really need for me to slap a 3-star.
Wow.
I gave it 3 stars.
I also gave it 3 stars. The movie magic monologue, Micah, the triple M.
The movie magic monologue.
That is cinema.
Then we watched real cinema.
Actual cinema.
Also known as Willard.
Willard, baby.
The 70s Willard.
Yeah, 1971.
70s horror right here.
This is the peak of 70s horror.
It certainly was a movie.
Willard is... I heard about Willard from my grandma. She said, you want to know a really bad horror movie? And then she brought up Willard.
She claims it to be one of the worst movies she's ever seen.
It's actually pretty solid.
It was fun.
I'll take it.
Like, it wasn't a horror movie.
No.
But it was fun. The rats were cute.
The rats were surprisingly cute.
I liked Ben. He was cool. I want to watch the sequel, which there is an actual sequel that's just about Ben, and I need that.
There's a genuine... The final shot in this is genuinely great.
No,
genuinely
the final shot is amazing. Like, there are a lot of fun elements of this.
Yeah.
The screenplay is pretty not great.
Yeah.
So it just ends up being kind of an okay experience.
Yeah, it's just kind of... yeah,
but
whatever.
there are a lot of fun things, like multiple scenes where somebody behind the scenes had to just be chucking rats at people.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I don't know how I would describe it. It feels like an afternoon movie somehow.
Yeah, I could feel that. It's very just...
It just kind of is there. It just exists, and you get to watch.
I also gave it 3 stars.
Yeah.
Yeah, then we watched Malignant.
Yeah, first watch of Malignant.
Then we watched the short film 20-something.
20-something.
It's a Spark short.
Pixar Spark Shorts. 20-something. The newest one. It was fine. It was a fine...
That's how I feel about most Spark shorts.
It was a fine short film. It had a very relatable topic, obviously.
I was like, obviously, I'm almost 20-something.
Yikes. Yeah, I mean, it's got a much cooler premise than in the actual, like, short is.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. It's a cool premise. I wasn't a big fan of it, actually.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of the execution of it, but, it was fine. It was pretty good, I would say. I would definitely recommend you watch it. Do it. Go watch it right now.
Then, just to really keep the cinema rolling, keep the 2021 pictures popping in, I watched the new Amazon original 2021 Cinderella, and I had heard nothing but bad things about Cinderella.
I can't imagine why.
And it turns out they were all true.
Yikes.
I really was trying to be optimistic because I really do occasionally enjoy just really trash movies. But there are like almost zero redeeming elements of this movie from a filmmaking standpoint, from a music standpoint, from a story standpoint. You got nothing going here. In fact, you have more things going against it than just base going for it. And it's a jukebox musical, which I didn't know. And I don't like jukebox musicals to begin with, but B, they took a Queen song and butchered it, and just putting a Queen song in this movie in general, you're already on my bad side.
Wow.
And then you ruin it.
You don't like Queen songs in movies, Micah?
No, I just this movie using a Queen song.
The fact that James Corden and Queen were on the screen,
right? James Corden made a penis joke. It was the worst thing I had seen in a while. And you've seen
Monster Hunters or whatever recently.
Yeah, I saw Monster Hunters. I would put this on a pretty similar level. Double feature it.
Double feature Monster Hunters and Cinderella.
It's 2 hours long of just nothing good, mostly bad. I gave it a half star.
I watched like a grand total of like 7 scenes from it. I like popped in and out as I was working on stuff. it is genuinely like bafflingly bad.
I described it in my review as the perfect culmination of every modern musical boiled down to its worst, featuring James Corden.
I swear, I described it as a TikTok musical, and I will stand by that, even though I didn't watch the whole thing.
It does. It feels. He said it feels more like a TikTok musical than the actual Ratatouille TikTok musical, and he's right. That at least had like original songs and like some creative ideas.
I was about to say, this just seems like they literally took the Cinderella screenplay and then we're like, bro, what if we made like a woke joke right here?
No, the entire movie can be summarized by the top review on Letterboxd, which is, well, I think we've done it. I think we've girl bossed Too Close to the Sun.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, no, not good movie.
Needed to rewatch Fury Road just to get like good female characters back in my mind.
I want to die historic on the Fury Road. I will literally watch Fury Road until I die. It is a great movie. I didn't know if I was going to be like one of those guys. You know, one of those guys.
Robbie's yelling, "Witness me," as he whips around the corner.
Witness me. Bro, I was doing it with shopping carts as a child, and now I'm doing it on the road. But yeah, no, Fury Road is fantastic. Malignant is very good.
Do a Fury Road parody with shopping carts instead of cars.
The Host was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we watched a lot of good movies.
Yeah, go watch Fury Road, Battle Royale.
Go watch
New in Town. Willard.
Pigeon Sat on a Branch Reflecting on Existence. That's a good movie as well.
Just go enjoy movies.
Go watch some movies.
Go enjoy the beginning of fall with some movies. It's not fall yet, but it could be.
Getting ready for Over the Garden Wall. That's going to be coming at you.
We're getting ready for Over the Garden Wall season. We're going to be doing an episode on it. It's going to be cool. It's going to be fun. Also, one of my friends from theater keeps asking when he's going to be on.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wesley's already been on.
No, not Wesley. He's not even in theater anymore.
I know.
Coleman wants to be on.
Oh, cool.
He wants. Okay. I think he said he wanted to do Ferris Bueller.
Oh, nice. I do like Ferris Bueller. not like that.
But yeah, we'll see you guys next week with something new. Maybe, not inherently a new movie, but just something new, content-wise.
Something different, Micah. Not something new.
Something new. It's new.
It's new.
It's a new episode.
New to us.
Bye.
Yes. Goodbye. Thank you for listening.
Best thing you can do. Get ready for the Bettys, cause the Bettys aren't ready for you.
We're burning tape here.
Alright. Hold on, I gotta pull up the stuff. Pull up. Drink.
Headshot.
Drink. Okay.